Is this thing working? I think it's working. Wow, this camera is filmed with produce. All righty. What's happening, everybody? Hope everybody's having a fantastic whatever day it is for you. So a new computer, trying to work through a few bugs with this thing. Hopefully we'll be getting the old computer back with my legit working really well config files and everything else, and maybe one that will run HP tuners that is not so glitchy. Going nuts trying to data log out in Velocito. Oh man, uploaded a couple of videos. Playing around with the tune just a little bit, trying to sort some things out for Stormy. And the truck's running good. On the draggy, ran a 1438 and a 1440. The 1440 was a hot lap. The 14 was a hot. Hold on. 1440 was a hot lap. The 1438 was a kind of a hot lap. Anyway, you can see in the video, I'm kind of playing around with some launch techniques. The cool thing about this truck is that you launch this thing exactly the same way as you launch a Hellcat or a Scat Pack at the drag strip, especially a Scat Pack on a drag radial, like a 20-inch drag radial. This truck acts identical to those cars when you're launching them. So the neat thing about having a Stormy in your arsenal is that it's like having a practice car on a track every time you drive it, which makes the truck a lot of fun. You know, the cool thing about it too is that the truck is clipping off now with a little bit more of a, bit of a driving technique to it. Clipping off those, 1430, 1440 passes on the street, on the draggy, in no prep conditions in Velocito, which is really cool because it kind of shows a couple of things. One, that truck is exactly as fast as and this is in a no prep condition, by the way, and hot. As you can see in the video, I've got the vehicle information screen up with it at 200 plus degrees, oil temps hot. The truck's definitely hot, and it is hot and muggy down here right now. So the truck is not in ideal conditions, and it's on 89 octane with the stock paper filter. So the neat thing is that it is matching identical number for number practically with my old Buffy number 1. And Buffy 1 was a 392 geared truck. So Stormy is about as fast. I mean, it's half a tenth in the same conditions. And in no prep conditions, mind you, it is as fast as a 392 gear truck, but this truck's got 321s, which means I've got enough in the tank on the highway to rip, and the truck runs its ass off from a dig by comparison. So in a lot of ways, it's like I got the best of both worlds with Stormy. I get something that's really quick for what it is. It's a lot of fun to drive too, and no downside. Great on the highway as well. So let me catch up with you guys. Oh, hang on. New computer, new contraption. Let's see. Boosted saying take 2. I like it. Thank you. Gary Fuller saying, what up, B? Got the flex. Modern Red Hemi saying, good evening, Professor B. Good evening, Modern Red. Boosted Hemi is, hanging out with Don. Let's see. Saying, what up, Professor B? Modern Red. There you go. Chuck Rice saying, hello, good evening. What's up, Chuck? Captain Scat saying, what's happening, Mr. Mason? Oh, I don't have any shades. He's got the cadence right. Got the flex with the ball guy with his shades. I like it. Monterey saying, thoughts on an HP 90 swap at 5.7? Absolutely unnecessary unless you are throwing the wood to that thing. Absolutely don't need it. Unless you're really throwing the wood at it, and then it might be a good idea to take a look at. Don Power saying, there you are. There I am. Having some technical difficulties. Dude, so y'all want to know what the behind the scenes was on that little have to take 2 thing? This computer has, hold on if I can find it, this thing where I can turn off the camera and then turn on the camera. It's like got a little slider. I guess I had it slid over. I had no idea. This is, like I say, it's a new computer. I really don't know what I'm doing with this thing yet. It is not running HP Tuner software very well at all. As a matter of fact, it's real glitchy. It's like it's really just, it's bad. So anyway, I'm going to have to get some technical support on that. Made the data logs look really weird. It made the data logs of those hits that I had posted, made the shift points look like they're all over the place. Anyway, and to that point, this truck is not sensitive to timing whatsoever. As long as the truck's got around 16.5 degrees of timing, it is as happy as it could possibly be. No real difference between 16.5 and 18.5 in data logs, guys. I mean, in terms of just numbers that it's, putting up there, it seems to be pretty happy either way. So not really messing with timing too much with this truck. It's got to be able to function as a truck. But more to the point, it's got to be able to function as an automobile, meaning I've got to be able to just put whatever gas I need to put in it. Primarily, it's going to get 89, but every once in a while, we get 93 if I decide to just take it to the drag strip or whatever, throw a little bit of 93 in there. Or, if I'm out in the middle of nowhere and I got to put 87 in it, I got to be able to drive the thing. So that's why I'm not getting aggressive with this tune. Just kind of going in and playing with some things. You know me, guys. I'm just going in and finding little areas where I can make slight improvements. And, hey, proof's in the pudding, right? The truck, in this case, just is going 1438, 1440 with a backup hit, both of them at identical mile per hour. So she's consistent. She rips. And guys, the truck's just a lot of fun. Again, best/worst kept secret is that car or truck, rather. So, let's see. J Kick saying, what's up? Last time I talked, I was doing a 5.7 with a Hellcat supercharger. Now I'm doing a 6.2 machined 411. Very nice. 309 diff interchiller, also ported blower, aiming for 1,500 horsepower. Recommendations. Well, yeah, I mean, obviously cam's going to be a big part of that. You got to be able to get air in and out of that thing. It's one of the deals that, we ran into that with Demonology's car. When I put the camshaft together for him, I picked up 150 horsepower and dropped 10 pounds of boost. And that's right, literally lowered the boost from a very high number to 10 pounds less than that. And again, picked up 150 horsepower. You got to be able to move air in and out of those things. I go with the Whipple 3.0. You literally cannot go wrong with that setup. So that's the way that I would do it. And then, obviously go from there. So, Ross pistons, Eagle rods, rather, whatever setup you've got is going to be fine. All of the forged rotating assembly, you've already got that with the 6.2, but all the forged rods and pistons will handle plenty of power. The main thing you're going to run into is going to be spring packs. So your spring pack, your push rods have got to be really perfectly measured out if you're going to be running the short travel lifters, like I said, at Johnson lifters, for example. So getting the springs right is going to be the most important part of that whole combination. If you want to stay within, that 1,500-ish horsepower range. And again, if you're talking about 1,500 wheel versus 1,500 crank, most guys at 1,500 are talking crank, rare to talk 15 at the wheels. But I mean, if you really want to turn the wick up, so to speak, you may have to make the switch over to turbos to make life a little bit easier. But you will be, even with turbos, you're going to be in that 28, 29-ish pounds of boost range. It's typically what guys are running at that horsepower level. Quite a few 1,500 horsepower cars running around out there too. Gary's saying, hello, everyone. Mono Red saying, truck is awesome, brother. Little late for me tonight, but got to hit the rack. Let me get my glasses of reading on here. Modern Red's got to get up. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Yeah, loving the truck, man. Absolutely. Donald saying new truck, new computer, lowered truck, and added Borla exhaust sounded good too. Yeah, man. Listen, so probably, and by the way, it is wife approved. So it's funny because my wife would not let me drive the truck much longer if I didn't put an exhaust on it. Absolutely love that Borla S type. It sounds amazing. I do still need to make a couple of adjustments to it, but it's nothing. It's just, it comes with the territory. Love how it sounds. It makes the truck absolutely a treat to drive. No doubt about it. I'd just hop in the truck and burble around. It's just that much fun. Oh, Dan saying, don't know if you've looked inside the factory airbox yet. No, I haven't. They have a charcoal filter that's riveted to the upper part of the airbox. That's coming out. Remove mine and added a drop-in filter the day I got it. Yeah, that's all going to be coming. Actually, the data on the truck is really, really good, though, in terms of manifold vacuum. It will absolutely roll at 97, 98 kPa when the barometer is at 100. So not a lot of pressure loss in the stock airbox, but I bet there's some room for improvement there. But thank you, Dan. Oh, Sovereign saying dealing with COVID for the last few days and it's kicking my ass. Man, take your vitamins, eat your chicken soup. I know a lot of people that have had it, and Sovereign saying if y'all haven't had COVID yet, it sucks. It does suck. I do not recommend. I know one guy that's had it 4 times. Guy got his shots, got boosted. It really didn't matter. He's just susceptible to it. Captain Scott saying thoughts on supercharger cam 229, 241 with an LSA of 117 for a 2-liter Maggie on a 5.7 on 8 pounds of boost. Okay, now remember, chromoly or titanium. Don't worry about titanium retainers. I wouldn't run titanium retainers. You don't need them. Steel retainers are fine. 229, 241 on a Maggie. 117 is good. It's going to depend what you're on a 117. What's the advance on that? That's also the same as asking what's your intake center line. I would like to see an ICL somewhere around 111-ish for that cam, just to try to rock it back a little bit. 229 is good. 241 is good. You're talking about 8 pounds of boost, but that's 8 pounds of boost with the cam. So remember that you're going to lose a chunk of boost with that cam. Pulley that thing for 8 pounds of boost with that cam, though, and it'll be good. And again, this is a good street combination. In fact, 229, 241 it's kind of a generic go-to. What's the best way I can put this? It's kind of like a default setting for a positive displacement supercharger, widening everything out to 117. But that'll be a fun little cam. It'll allow it to move air a little bit better on the top end if you're at like a 111, give or take. And other thing is going to be springs, but you're at 8 pounds of boost, so you don't really have to worry too much about that. PSI 1515, 1516s installed on like a 180 would be good. The biggest issue that I have with springs is when you try to run, like you're trying to max out the stock components. So for example, it's a hyper, and you're running a lot of boost. So you need a lot of seat pressure, but you can't have too much seat pressure because then you can potentially go beyond what the rollers can handle. So in a hydraulic, lifter situation. So, Captain Scott, would I need larger fuel injectors and fuel pump as well? Yeah, that'd be part of the package. Whoever's putting that together, you're going to be running, larger injectors for sure. 750s would be a minimum. Let's see. But yeah, all looks good. All checks out. It's be for street use. Yeah, you'd be in good shape. Like I said, I'd still want to see 750s on it. 650, you get by with 650s. You're not running that much boost, and you don't have a whole lot of displacement there. So, yeah, I mean, it'd be a fun car. It's real similar to putting a well, I mean, you're not putting one, but it's similar to some of the cars that I've driven. Again, 5.7 with a positive displacement supercharger is a lot of fun to drive. Jay saying, thanks for advice. I got to sell my 5.7 crate with only 30,000 on a Chrysler 300. Going to be moving 411 now. Do you think I need to get a stall or not necessarily want to be able to get out of the hole? I mean, the thing is that you'd be surprised. It's going to be pretty quick. The only downside with going with a more aggressive torque converter is they can be a little bit soft just driving the thing around. So there is a compromise there. But with a 411, I've driven 411 and 426 cars that weren't cammed to the sky and had stock converters, and I kind of preferred that combination with a little bit more cam or more cam in general. And these were like 236, 242 cams. With a converter, the problem is that they just feel a little bit, it takes a little bit of getting used to. I'll just leave it at that. Keeson saying, hello, I have a 2013 Challenger RT with a cold air intake, JBA shorty headers, Borla S-type catback exhaust with a wet nitrous kit and a tune and MT 275 4020s running 1230 at 116, stock 306 rear gears. I want 11s. Well, let's see. You can always throw more nitrous at it. Not really showing what size you're running. I'm guessing it's probably 125 shot, give or take. 116 means you're maxing out your ET at 1230. You're in. Actually, you're not. You're in the noise. I mean, 275, 40. You're actually a drag pack away from just about running 11s. I would go different wheel and tire setup and not throw anything at it. Some are saying, oh my God, I'm probably about the buddy of mine that's literally had COVID 4 times. X is saying, what up, Professor B? What's up, y'all? X is saying, I went by a local Dodge dealership today and say a super stock, and it was priced at $110. Had some pretty bad chips in the paint. It was all black. Man, yeah, that's Marcos. That's a lot of money for that car. Marco's saying, Red Eye got me in trouble already. Welcome to the club. Marco's saying 5.7 Hemi is the best. I tell you what, I'm having a freaking ball with my truck. And I'm basically like this with the tune at this point. So he's saying 100 shot. Yep. X is saying, I never get tired of my 5.7 on the street. I'm a big fan of the truck, so I'm having fun with mine. Dan saying, on my 22 Challenger RT, do you think there is really any benefit to running 93 octane over the recommended 89? The car is stock for now. No, there's really not. I haven't seen where there is. And I can tell you, you've got a 22. So I've got a 22 Ram, and I'm running 89 in that truck. And I'm not having any issues with knock retard or anything like that. I will say this. Tonight, I did a little bit. And I've recently put gas in the thing. So I'm guessing there's a fuel quality issue there, potentially. And look, I'll tell you this. The only time there is a benefit to running 93 in the 5.7s is if you want to absolutely ensure that you have something that is better than or equal to 89 octane in your tank. Here's the beauty of the 5.7. It is designed to run on 89. That means it's not going to be as picky when it comes to fuel quality. And if you run 93, you won't necessarily make more power, but you will absolutely make all the power that engine can make. So there's that. So is there a benefit? Yeah, it might not necessarily be performance unless you're getting crappy 89, which I think I got some crap 89 because I'm getting a little bit of knock retard when I wasn't getting it before. And the tune really hadn't changed anything. I made one change in tip-in timing retard. I pulled all of that out. I shouldn't have been surprised. Made no difference to the data in that truck, which is, again, kind of funny when you think about it, because the DT platform just doesn't respond to tuning inputs. Kind of weird. Not like the DS did. Ardell's in saying, "Hey B, what's up, eh?" Capscat 345 saying, "Took my buddy for a ride in my 5.7 Hemi since I had the full bolt-on 2 done. Absolutely loved it. Smoked the tires and made a bunch of noise." Absolutely. I'm telling you, love me some 5.7s, guys. Vadim or Vadim saying, "I hate electric cars. Honestly, rip Dodge." So Behemoth sent me a text and said, "Yeah, Dodge already said that the Banshee is not going to be as fast as the Plaid." And when he sent me that, I was thinking, where do you check out? Honestly, where do you check out as a Dodge fan, as a Mopar fan, as somebody that's into this and wants to stay into this? Where exactly do you check out? Is it at the EV? Is it with the EV? Because I got to be honest with you guys, I'm how do I put this? I'm more frustrated. I'm more frustrated with the idea that Dodge is not going to make the EV as Dodge as they can. There's a lot of talk about how good the EV is supposed to be and how awesome it's going to be and blah, 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 blah. But nobody's talking about pricing and nobody's talking about the availability of the thing. And the sad part about it is nobody really cares. I mean, nobody's looking at it like it's good. So, I mean, yeah, okay, it's a concept. It's just a concept. Yeah, but when you're a year and a half away from your projected release date of this so-called concept, makes it a little difficult to get on board when you don't have any specifications. You have nothing to get excited about. So, Marco's saying 5.7 Hemi truck with long tubes and a 6.4 manifold. That is a good combination. Will Talk saying, "Congrats on the new truck. What are your thoughts on the Ram 1500 Warlock with the 5.7? They brought the Warlock name back. I like the Warlock. It runs good. I think it comes with a 392 gear, if I'm not mistaken. So good truck. Marco's saying he paid $110 for his red eye non-wide body. One of my favorite cars. The funny thing is that, the value is so strong with the Mopars. Weird, at least in so far as I've seen. Every market's a little bit different, but weird that the GT500 hasn't followed suit. And I don't know why that is. Limited production. Guys get a little skittish when they start looking at that, the DCT, tranny and all that. I don't know. It's just, it doesn't seem to play well in that environment. The resale, that is, environment. Alex is saying, "Oh yeah, the dash looks amazing on the new Ram trucks. Love the street hits and the truck fest beat." Thank you very much. So here's the thing, guys. Okay, I had to take delivery of a truck on a lot for me to be able to get the rebates, the incentives, and everything else. Now, granted, it's not like I got, it's not like huge numbers like they have been in the past, but I did get about $7,000 worth of stuff, whether stuff or discounts on that truck, which is great. I mean, it made made picking. But the thing is, that truck was exactly the truck that I built online. Same color, same wheels, same everything. But it's got some features that I didn't even know you could get. One of those features is that screen, that 7-inch screen. It's a $75 option. And I'm like, why isn't that available on all of them? So anyway, word to the wise, if you're thinking about getting a Ram, find one with that screen. I think probably all of them are optioned that way. But for $75, why? I mean, Crimus, why wouldn't you? Eric saying, I'm late to the party night, B. Hope everyone is having a good Saturday night. Thank you, Eric. Eric saying, what up, Eric? Made him say the Charger EV sounds like a robot cat meowing. That's a good way to put it. Man, look, I didn't know how to describe it. It just sounded bad. Look, y'all know that my thought on that is they should have put pickups and mic'd up the actual motor itself. There's other ways to get it right, and they just haven't gotten it right. There's a lot of ways to get it right. They figured out ways to get it wrong. I'll put it to you that way. Ardell's asking, what will EVs do in Montana? We have extreme lows for long periods of time. No plug-in stations here. Out in the middle of nowhere. True that. Hey, how about this? You know, not all of California is Los Angeles, Sacramento, and San Francisco. Yeah, you've got actual cities that need real gasoline-powered cars to get around. People don't have charging stations in their apartments. What about out in the middle of nowhere? You know, basically California, aside from the city centers, is just one big farm. I don't know how they're talking about we're not going to have gasoline in California. It's like, oh, I bet you do. Gasoline-powered, new sales of gasoline-powered contraptions or whatever. X is asking, do you think you'll take the truck to drag strip soon? I'm wanting to. But we'll see. It might go. In fact, it almost went last night. It may go next weekend. We'll see how everything works out. But I don't know. I would like to. I really would like to. Like, really, really would like to. James saying, what's up, East? Saw your video breakdown related to the Banshee. Diehard Mopar fans going to lose the never live spirit and resort to GM or Ford for a horsepower fix. So that's one of the things that I was trying to allude to. A lot of guys that are Mopar guys now came from Ford. There's not a lot of GM to Mopar blending. It's kind of oil and water. It always really has been. But Ford and Dodge have always been kind of a little bit of a handshake in there. A little bit of some canoodling between Ford and Dodge. It's always been like that. And to that point, it's okay. A lot of the guys that got into Mopar in 2008, so we're talking a long time ago at this stage, were Ford guys. But they were Ford guys by the fact that they weren't GM guys and they didn't have a Mopar to turn to. Well, enter the Challenger. And then a lot of folks started making the move over. Old school guys, new school guys discovered it for the first time, and then they became Mopar fans. Well, when Mopar goes away, there won't be a GM. There will only be Ford. And so, at least if you're looking for new cars, that's going to be the only way to go. You got to remember, in 2015, the GT500 checked out when the Hellcat checked in. And that was the end of any discussion about supercharged V8s, right? So, I don't know. You can see where I'm going with this. Ford is going to be, if they still are making internal combustion V8s, which I believe they will, Ford's going to be on the receiving end of a lot of new fans. I'll tell you that. Let's see. James saying, I waited from the 70s to 2005 to Dodge regain the throne. Now this. Yeah. Oh, Ardell saying, I'm talking negative 30 degrees in snow. Yeah, that's brutal. Marco's saying, wouldn't stress these 5.7 Hemis and Hellcats. We'll be around for a while. Not liking the EV. I get it. Dan saying, was looking at a used 309 limited slip diff for his RT. The diff has 42,000 miles on it. Any concern with a used diff? Not really for an RT. Just make sure you change the fluid out in it. Oh, X is saying, cool. We'd be interested to see the numbers it runs compared to those numbers to older Ram trucks. So here's the cool thing. If you go into my playlists, go into Ram 1500, and there's a couple of passes from the old work truck, from Buffy number 1. In those videos, Buffy number 1, I think, went a 1428 and a 1432 or something like that. And basically practically identical times to what Stormy is running on the street in a no prep condition. So now granted, Stormy did hook up pretty good on that 1440 pass, but that was on a really hot pass. And Buffy 1 had a 180 degree thermostat, which does make a pretty decent difference with these trucks. Marco's saying, you're making me want to sell the Nissan and buy another Ram. Loving my Ram. Dude, listen, if you haven't driven one, don't bring your checkbook if you go to drive one. They are really nice to drive. Steven's asking, what happens to the wide variety of customers? So you something we're in the low to mid 20s. This is going to be a rich guy car. Oh, like selling a Hellcat, only no mid class, just old rich guys. That's the thing. You're going to have to be making a decent amount of money to be able to buy one of these things. And I don't mean like a good amount. I mean like a significant chunk of change is what it's going to take to pick one of these cars up. And I don't understand the disconnect there. And to me, it doesn't make a lot of, why is it that EVs are so expensive? Ain't nothing new about the motors or the speed controllers. There's that. I mean, that's old tech. So what's the deal? It's all in the batteries. And this is where a lot of folks get a little skittish when it comes to EVs. Gary, thank you very much. Man, I appreciate that, brother. Dang. Saying, B, I've been doing a good amount of research on the 85 after Logic. Yeah, not the GM sensor setup with my setup on the 6.4 for race days. Will the 260 GT Plus be just as good as the 85? Will no fuel issues, with no fuel issues sitting corroding? Okay, look, here's the thing. Here's my overwhelming thought on the E85 deal for a 6.4. And I don't have them here, and I apologize. I spent, with Quick Brick's car, I spent both with a stock cam and with my CDO1 grind cam in the car. I spent a lot of time with that car on a dyno. That car was on the dyno for 2 days just 2 days straight in a row. I mean, it was not just 2 separate days. I literally had the car strapped to dyno for 2 days with the stock cam, trying to find what I could do with the tune, just between answering the phone and doing some other stuff, but trying to extract more power out of that car with the 85. The only thing I could really get out of it was power down low. Up top, it just didn't. I mean, no matter what timing I ran at it, fuel air ratios, it didn't matter what I did with it. And I mean, it got to the point with that car. This is with either cam, by the way. It got to the point with that car where I didn't want to make any more hits on the car. It was just like, God, okay, what about if I pull a little bit of fuel and throw timing at it until I am over time? Okay, let's try that. Okay, So we dropped the Lambda down, threw fuel, or raised it, I should say, threw fuel at it after we figured out where the car wanted to make peak power with the E85. Is like, I think it was like 19 degrees of timing is where it was really the happiest. And then started throwing fuel at it, and then started taking fuel away from it, trying to figure out anything we could do to make it make power on E85. It just, like I say, I mean, it made torque down low, and that was really it. The problem is that you don't have enough compression. And I know 10.9 sounds like a lot. 0.9 ain't 12.5, which is what the Coyote comes to the party with. And you really need compression to make E85 work. So I would advise against the E85. I would say 260 GT is actually good. 260 GT Plus, a little bit more oxygenated, and it is 13%. If memory, 13% ethanol. Not too bad. A little bit more oxygenated than 260 GT, but you can literally tune it to overtime. Literally overtime it with 260 GT Plus. If you're looking for the oxygenation benefits, you might look at MS-109. It is a slightly higher oxygenated fuel, and it will probably give you a slight advantage. But again, it's not going to be huge, and I wouldn't necessarily trust it to give you more power. But yeah, really 260 GT is really good. And because you got to remember, you can, that combination only likes, on the data log is where we'd be reading this, only likes like 18 and a half degrees of timing. And that's at 6,400 RPM. That's really if you're stretching it out. You don't even have to do that. Most of them like to shift around 62, 6250-ish. And there it's like 17 and a half degrees of timing, maybe 18, depends on the fuel. But even there, it's just, you're not going to be able to throw more timing at it and get more power out of it. That's what we tried to do with the 85, and it was to the point where we're trying 20, 22, 24. And sometimes you can, it's I've seen it, but it's just kind of a fluke sometimes. I don't know. It's kind of weird. Anyway, you can be on your way up with timing, and then you'll get past a number. Let's 15 degree, whatever it is. It'll get past a number, and then it won't make any more power, or it may make a little bit less, but it'll plateau. And it might plateau at a power level from 15 to 16 degrees of timing, like I'm not seeing anything. And then you put 17 degrees of timing, and it might pick up just a little bit. Your best bet is to go back to your 15 degree number, because there's no benefit really to throwing any more timing at it. So again, we tried. I mean, believe me, we tried to find a fueling and a timing that would work with those things. And listen, we got that 4,600 pound, quick brick driving it. 4,600 pound race weight car ran an 11.2 at 120 miles an hour. I mean, if that thing was lighter, it'd been deep into the 10th. And that's with running a smaller amount of timing, actually, than what we found on the dyno. Oh, X is saying, I got a 2006 Nissan Titan LE. Still running strong. Nice. X sound, take a look at the videos. Marco is saying, where are you located? I want you to tune the red eye. I'm not your guy to tune the red eye. Actually, Z or Alex Pikes would be the one to really tune it. Not that I can't. It's just that I don't really do. I'm in Houston, by the way, but it's not that I don't. Not that I can't. Not that I don't. It's just that I don't want the liability. I've tuned a few cars locally, and I also, obviously I tune all my own stuff. I've helped with tunes. I've validated tunes for guys and made a lot of changes for guys at the drag strip to just button up their tunes. It had quite a few cars on the dyno that I've tuned, but it's really with with the red eye, honestly, there's not a lot that you're going to do to the red eye. Fueling is one. It's all temperature based, really, with the red eye. But you've got some temperature based stuff, some torque management adjustments, spark modifiers here and there. But the big deal is the temperature. And the other big deal is get the thing to the drag strip and make sure that the shift points are exactly where you want them. And the problem is, to get the shift points exactly where you want them, every car, and I mean every car, is a little bit different. Every car is a little bit different, and you've got to have a drag strip to really be able to extract the most out of the car on the 1-2 and the 2-3 shift. You have to have a prepared surface. But give Alex a shout. He can get you taken care of. If Alex is booked, Z's good. I know Z's run high nines with E85 tuned red eyes, but yeah, you're in good shape with either way you go. My main thing is don't be really quick to throw any more boost at that thing. Those cars, stock boost, are a lot of fun, man. But yeah, there's okay. So for your car, you want to richen them up. They're way too lean from the factory. Richen them up, chill the knock sensors out a little bit. Again, it's generic spark modifier change up stuff. There's some things in that tune that you'll have to do to support some other changes, like your injector duty cycle limits will have to be bumped up about 10%, give or take. Again, shift points you probably want to mess with a little bit, but that can be a little bit subjective. The temperature-based stuff is a big deal. And it's just stuff you don't have to worry about with a Hellcat. But we discovered this with the Demons, by the way, which is funny. I got this new computer. This is computer like number whatever. My very first laptop that I ever bought, like back in 2008, I was using that one for tuning, and it is humongous. Anyway, that thing is a beast, and I was digging some data out of that computer and found the old Demon read files and changes that I had made to the car. Is pretty funny. But and again, Gary, thank you very much, but I appreciate that. And to that point, Gary, look, man, here's the thing. I don't want to see you make a big switch over to E85 when you're not going to get anything out of it. I just, in my heart of hearts, and people, what about with a cam? No, not really. NA, you're just not going to pick up a whole lot. You'd be lucky to get 1%, honestly, across the board increase in power. So, and you may get a 2% bump in torque, but it's way, way, way low, and you're only going to see it for a nanosecond, and then you blast right through it, and you never see that power again. So only helps you on a drag strip, on a prepared surface with a drag racing tire, not just a drag radial. See what I mean? Diminishing returns are all over that thing. But yeah, stick with gasoline-based stuff. I think you'll be a lot happier. Don't have to worry about corrosion or anything breaking down or anything like that. Plus, you can keep your stock injectors. You don't have to worry about buying a bunch of stuff. It saves you a bunch of money in the process, dude. You make the same amount of power, not spend any money. It's like a win-win right there. That I'm saying verbatim. I've heard from certain sources that Dodge won't completely fade away with the Challenger Charger, but instead will have Hurricane i6 replace the Hemi. What is your opinion on that? My opinion on that is I have been excited about a new platform that could take advantage of an i6 along with a hybrid transmission. If you compare those two together, I mean, that's freaking peanut butter and chocolate right there, guys. I mean, look, you've got the shrill, awesome sound of an inline six screaming at 8,000 RPM, whatever they're going to spin it to. But it's the idea that you can back it up with another 200 foot-pounds of torque from a pancake electric motor in the transmission, make it a real, true hybrid. HP has the transmission to do it, so just do it. You don't have to be all-wheel drive. Just make a hot rod out of the thing. It would sound amazing, and you would have all of the upside of having, let's say they go with the high output inline six, even though I am on record as saying I don't really trust some of that 26 pounds of boost combination for the standard and high output cars, or engines in those cars. But, you figure at 500 horsepower, 500 horsepower, 500 pound-feet of torque, and you throw an electric motor making another 150 or 200 pound-feet of torque, and it's going to give it another 150 horsepower-ish. I mean, those are practically Hellcat numbers. So, I mean, dude, ain't bad. Sticks with the overall consensus of where this is going. And, I mean, yeah, it's not a V8. I mean, smart money says just put that hybrid transmission behind a V8. Why not? It'd be the same thing. Go from 400 horsepower, 400 pound-feet of torque in the trucks to 550 and 600. The car would be the same roughly. What's the difference, right? So, I don't know. Let's see where all of this leads us, I guess is the best way to put it. Oh, Steven's saying, thanks for asking the question. Dodge has people hooked. They started with the SXT RT and moved up the ladder. Yep. Ardell, airlines are not going electric. That's not to say that there actually are electric airplanes, and they're pretty trippy with how strong they are. I mean, obviously, it's electric, so it's instant power. Weird thing, though, is that that's not always a good thing, because then you have, motor-induced torquing of the airframe, but they were great. I'm saying, by the way, I know this is predominantly Ram channel, but I'm never giving up my GX 460 V8 forever. Hell yeah. Eddie's saying audio is messed up. Is audio messed up, guys? Or is it just temporarily messed up? Oh, Gary's saying his build's going to be 12.5 to 1 on the compression side, but still think I'm going to stick with MS 109 and 260 GT. I will say this. 12.5 to 1 is, I would consider 12.5 to 1 to be the cover charge to get into using E85. I wouldn't even use it on 11.5 to 1. It's just, there's not, I think, enough upside. But you get into 12.5 to 1, that's going to be pretty much the lowest compression ratio you're going to want. Guys, look, that 11 to 1 number, that's what I recommend to guys that say, hey, man, look, I'm going to build a dedicated E85 Hellcat combination. What do you suggest? My first suggestion is 11 to 1, and that's for guys running 13, 14, 17, 18 pounds of boost. So that gives you kind of an idea for where my head's at with the 85. You just don't want to build the engine and end up having something that really is going to underperform and be less efficient, in fact, overall. Steven's saying, thoughts on RT versus Scat for weekend cruiser, likely never drag strip. I think common knowledge is RT for a weekender, but would love your input. Man, listen, okay, so let's talk about an RT with an 8-speed, right? Because that's really where we're at this stage of the game. An RT with an 8-speed is practically as fast as a 6.1 with a nag 1. So with a 309 gear, both of them with 309s. So look, if you want something that sounds great, doesn't break the bank, you can put long tubes on it later, but at least you can put like a Borla S-Type on the thing, have it sound amazing. That's all you need. And, stance the car out however you like it, wheels and tires, whatnot. You got something that's going to sound fantastic. It's going to perform just fine. 5.7, it will have no problem lighting up a set of tires. And again, you get all of the theater for a fraction of the price. Now the 6.4 is going to be faster. Absolutely. It's what it does. But it's also a bit more of a handful. You absolutely have to run drag radials on that thing or it's never going to hook on the street. And, it's faster, sure, but at some point, if you're just building a cruiser, you just don't need the extra power of a 6.4. It gives you some level of street cred, but does it really even do that? Again, 5.7 with a set of tires is a tough package to beat on the street, too, by the way. Is 5.7 on a set of drag radials, you can watt that thing and just walk out of a 6.4's life on the street. So I've seen it happen quite a few times. Y'all know I like the 5.7 a lot, so I'm going to default on that question to the 5.7. Marco's asking, what is the best tire for the rear? I drive a lot, street tire that will hook. Well, one of the tires that's going to do you a whole lot of good is the Nitto Tri-5 R2. The problem with the Nitto Tri-5 R2, though, is it does run a little bit big, but if you get it in the stock size tire, you'll be okay. So I would go that route, go with a 275/40 for the rear, but go with the Nitto 555 R2, and I think you'll be really happy. I enjoyed my car on that tire, especially when it was fresh. It's a good tire. It's just it doesn't fit a 10.5-inch wide rim very well. But that's for the 305. You get the stock size tire, they run a little bit wider. It's probably going to be a great tire for you. Oh, Eddie's asking also, is anybody else having trouble hearing the live feed? A little bit later, I think Ardell's saying audio is better. So, yeah, I think it's okay. It looks like it's better. So good deal. Steven's saying common knowledge scat from Weekender. Yeah, he likes to scat. Marco's saying the audio was messed up, but now it's better. That's good. Madera's in saying, hey, B, what's up? Disker's got a good point saying B&W is absolutely killing it with the i6 setup, thinking about selling my scat and getting a B50 look. Supra, y'all know I've got a freaking crush on that car still, and it's got a version of the same automatic that's in our cars, HP 70, HP 90. It's a HP, 380, which is BS. That thing is a stout transmission from all I've heard about it. Oh, Steven's still saying, yeah, the audio is sketchy. District saying power and reliability, plus they're much lighter. I'm still upset Dodge never addressed the security issues that their cars have. Not looking forward to continue with the brand with the lackluster security. Man, it's not just lackluster security that's got people that are kind of wanting to step away from the brand. I mean, look, there's a lot of things that this release has shown us that Dodge has got to get better at. Security is one of them. They need to be better at sending a message, long-term message, for what they're going to be coming out with, what they're going to be delivering for us. What are the new cars going to look like? What powertrains are they going to have? What about the security issues? How are they addressing those? There's a lot to it. So I get it. I 100% get it. Eddie's got a good question. B, I've got a 16 manual Cat. Should I get the pedal commander and get rid of the clutch delay? Yes. Any thoughts on the rip-attuned Incognito? Yeah, don't buy it at all. I mean, at all. Unless you're planning on buying injectors and having a tune put on it, do not go that route. I have seen guys, I put it to you like this. I had a guy, this was in low DA weather though, but I had a guy basically, we were at the track at the same time. It's myself, Orange Crush, Mean Cat, quite a chunk of us actually. The guy was saying, man, what kind of pulley are y'all running? Well, myself and Orange Crush, we don't have pulleys on the cars. They're stock pulleys. And his car was not performing at all to what he thought. I said, well, what you got done to your car? And he goes, well, it's got one of the Incognito pulleys. I said, really? I said, is it tuned for it? And he goes, well, no. I said, well, you really need to be data logging it. And the guy goes, well, I am data logging it. I said, let me see your data log. And this car was yanking timing. It just short-term knock retard going through the roof. You got to have a tune for it, and you got to have injectors. You have to have the right fuel for it. And if you don't, depending on the altitude the physical altitude that you live at, you can be running into problems with that pulley for sure. Ardo saying, thanks, B. Audio is better. Very good. James is asking, had a little bit of a glitch here. James is asking, what are your thoughts on the DSR Performance 426, 1150 horsepower, 93 pump gas? Sounds cool, but that price tag, though, would it be better to build your own BGE block base 426? Yes, it would be. And I will just leave it at that. I wouldn't even go near the DSR stuff. Not at those prices. And plus, it's there. You get to a point with power with these things that it really is realistically no longer streetable. And that number really is around 650 to 700 horsepower. Obviously, you can make a whole lot more than that, but the idea is that you never can tap into that power realistically because of traction issues on the street. The one thing you don't want is for a car to start wall hunting at 110, 120 miles an hour. Take my word for that. That ain't no fun. Ardell saying RTs are great. I agree. X is saying 5.7 from a dig never gets old. Yeah, it doesn't, and they're fun. I mean, you just play with them so much. Marco's saying the 5.7 Hemi worked much better. Absolutely. And the thing is with a 5, this is where, okay, guys, look, I don't want to soapbox on you guys too much, but the fact of the matter is that the reason why I like the 5.7 so much is because it's fun. And I know it's really rich coming from me having this thing right over my dadgum shoulder, but that's not the point. The point that I'm making is, well, I mean, I've got a 5.7. It's sitting like right on the other side of that wall. It's my truck. And it's so much fun. I can use every horsepower that truck makes. In fact, if I don't roll into the throttle the right way, it spins the tires. It's a 321 geared truck. So I guess the point that I make gets put in the shadow of Coyotes and 6.4s and 6.2s. Let's not forget Camaros are out there. And yeah, you can throw the kitchen sink at a Camaro, make a whole bunch of power. 6.4 is the same. Coyote is what it is. The fact is, though, that the 5.7 is so much fun, and people forget that a 13-second car was screaming fast back in the day. I mean, if you go back to the golden era of muscle cars, even on a slick, a lot of everybody's favorite muscle cars would be doing well to run a 1380 or 1390. Just saying. So, I mean, we're not talking about top shelf stuff here, but the reality is that most cars wouldn't run in 13s, and 13s are plenty fast for the street. So They're a lot of fun. You can use every horsepower that you bought, and the kicker is that they're not near as expensive. So, and they're not gonna be as temperamental when it comes to fuel quality either. Steven said, "Oh, thank you for the input. I'll definitely have to check both out when I get the cash for one of these." Absolutely. Skid saying, "Better late than never." What up, B? I just picked up my 22 Ram Rebel Eco Diesel. Nice. Billet silver metallic with black two-tone. That's going to be a nice truck. Keep me posted on that Eco Diesel. Everybody that I know that has the Eco Diesel freaking loves them. So, congratulations. Madeira saying, would you recommend an early 2000s diesel truck over an EV for longevity and ease of at-home repair? Right now, you can get a nice one for 18 to 20 grand, and it can last for 20, 30 years or so. Well, yeah. I mean, look, it's an early 2000s diesel. I mean, it's about as complicated as a can of tomato soup. I mean, I wouldn't say ease of at-home repair. I mean, they're still going to be heavy, and you got to have specialty tools for it. But an EV, I'll put it to you like this: EVs are a little bit of an unknown. Here's something to consider. I know of a couple of techs that I've talked to that have said that they will not work on an EV. There are things that can happen when you're talking about the gigawatts that one of these things makes. You drop your wrench on a car battery, it arcs over, sparks. Everybody goes, ah, ha, ha. You drop your wrench on a pair of terminals on a bunch of batteries in series, and you turn the car into a spotlight. It's just not a good thing. The other thing is that if there is an electrical accident, whether it's arcing or a fire or something like that, there's no putting the fire out. And, I'm guilty of this. If I'm working, Sierra is the vehicle that comes to mind. I'm leaning over the truck. I'm doing something. Adjusting timing is usually when it happens. And I'm sitting there and it's hot. I'm sweating and I'm reaching over and I'm playing with a distributor, and I will complete the circuit on that battery. Now it's 12 volts, and it's not like I'm completing, all these amps or anything, but you can feel it in your arm. It's like you're doing something else. You're not really paying attention. It's not a true shock, but you can feel it tingling through your arm. I don't think that a lot of guys realize how dangerous EVs can be. And so, look, I'm just as skittish as you guys are when it comes to EV technology, working on them and all of that. The other thing you got to remember is that EVs are still in their infancy at the power level that they're at. I'll put it to you like this. Look up, what is it? EV motor mount failures. Some of these EVs are yanking the motor mounts right off of the frames. It's like they last fine for a while, but because of metal fatigue, because metal fatigues, it flexes and moves around just like this ruler, and you get cracks and stuff breaks. Well, you going, 0 to 100 miles an hour all the time at every stoplight, you're going to start to flex those mounts, you can break something. So yeah, the power is great, but then you start finding the weak link in these things. District saying, yep, I agree. Dodge definitely stuck a middle finger to its core customers. They want to market, but they fail to realize young demographic is the street takeover squad. They're not even talking about that. They're talking more about, then yeah, they wouldn't want an EV, but there's a lot of folks that are just not into cars, but they want something basically that's fun to drive, that's disposable. So there's that. Another thing is that Dodge is Stellantis, more to the point, is just playing the game. They're playing the game when it comes to look at us, we're doing the right thing. Well, the right thing, that works when you make enough money to buy the product that you're selling. The problem comes when you're talking about these types of vehicles that, our demographic, our youngest demographic, the Hornet is cool, but everything else is not going to be. And by the way, how much are those things really going to cost once they hit dealerships? Just saying. Oh, Disher saying because of that he's looking at a M340 or 540. I like the 540, or jump up to a used Hellcat. I don't know, that 540 is a good car. James saying, appreciate the input. Thank you. Skids is saying, will do. It was a blast to drive home like I stole it, and I feel like I almost did. Very cool. Marco saying, I have a red eye, and if I could go back, I would build another 5.7. I just would go this time, no cam, and go Pro Charger, long tubes, and a 6.4 manifold. Yeah, if one of my favorite, y'all know, one of my favorite all-time combos is a 5.7 with the E-Force Maggie. That's a really good combination also. But I get it, 100%. Speed Manic saying, when I worked at Dodge, none of the techs wanted to work on the eco diesel trucks, and parts were always on back order. Hopefully that's changed. Matt saying he loves his 5.7. I never heard good things about them and can't figure out why. Just got a Hemi Fever tune and it gave me a whole new love for it. She screams. Yeah, I mean, look, here's the thing. What made me a big fan of the 5.7, aside from owning one, was the company that I work for has 25 DS Rams with Hemis. Every single one of them is a Hemi truck. They're all tradesmen. And we've got them with 240, 280, 311,000 miles. I mean, with the last one, that turned into auction. And granted, you're going to have to, obviously, but I don't think any of them ever got a new water pump, alternator, any of that. A couple of them stung transmissions. I think that was more driver than anything else. And we had one of them had the one with 311,000 miles, needed a new body control module and a new clock spring for the steering wheel. That's about it. But they're good engines. Hemi Tick, that's kind of going to come with the territory. Marco's saying, yes, sir. Matt had that tune on his cammed Ram. Very nice. See when it comes to range and charge times. Yeah, so, wait, hold on. Looks like we might have an unstable connection. There it goes. One of the things when it comes to EVs, all of it is in its infancy, and primarily the infrastructure. How do you charge these things? Especially, how do you convince somebody that it's a good idea to buy an EV when they don't live in an area that's really conducive to charging? Like they live in an apartment, live in a townhouse, don't have garage access. That's a whole lot of people. So anyway, y'all heard me go off on that before. Hardell saying 5.7s is so versatile. The fun never ends. I like 5.7s. Matt saying, yep, cam and long tubes are next. Very nice. Yeah, so there's, like I say, there's a lot of fun things that you can do with a 5.7 that you just can't do with the 6.4. I get it. Everybody talks about the numbers, though. It's like in roll racing is another big deal, which is kind of funny in a way because that's really where the Mustang does its best work. And to me, the weird thing about the Mustang is that it never did feel fast. It felt like it was just revving for a lot longer. you're going to have to walk with me on this, but it felt like, I'm not going to say it felt like a CVT transmission in the Mustang, but they just rev forever. It's like, when is it going to shift? Is it going to shift? Is it ever going to shift? And anyway, that was one of the weird things about the Mustang. I love the Mustang. And really, that car with a 370, an automatic with a 373 or a 410 gear would be ideal. But just so that you could make that engine do what it would really like to do, which is rip through gears. Anytime you have something that makes power like that on the big end, you need a closer ratio transmission, or you need to tighten up the transmission with a gear. Rich saying, don't forget the good old 6.1. Yeah, 6.1s are great. Oh, Donnie's saying he did the cam full bolt on an E85 route with a 5.7 Charger with the HP70. Feels more peppy than my Hellcat, to be honest. A lot of guys will say that too. Of course, when you're in it, the Hellcat is faster. Love my 5.7 though. That's why I kept it. They are going to be snappy. And again, that's one of the big takeaways that guys may have going from Scatties to Hellcats. It's one of those deals where you definitely lose that first half of your pedal that is so much fun in those cars. You lose that with the Hellcat. Yeah, you pick it up on the back end, but it's a different thing altogether. Hemi Dad, thank you very much. Oh, cool. Sadie saw a 68 Charger with a 426, my favorite year of Charger. 426 Hemi 4-speed car to show today. It was bright red like a giant middle finger to the electric Charger abomination. The Charger Banshee will never be a real muscle machine. I'll tell you what, I'll take that a step further. So whatever Dodge or Stellantis has said, if any of that holds any water, I haven't seen it myself, but I have been told that Dodge is already saying that thing is not going to be a plaid killer. It's not going to be something that's going to be going after that car. So anyway, we'll see what ends up happening with it. But yeah, it just won't take the place of those things ever. Oh, hang on a second. Time out. But thank you very much. I mean, yeah, I agree with you. They're just the EV thing. The problem with the EV is that they really are a one-trick pony. They do that one trick though really well, which is acceleration. But if you don't build it, see, that's the thing. Why would Dodge come out with this thing, call it a Banshee, and not make it the fastest thing on the daggum planet? It just blows my mind. Or at least, really fast, another 9-second car. X is saying he wants to have his 5.7 tune, but I don't think anyone in my area speaks fluent Mopar. Do you think an email tune would suffice? It will if it's coming from somebody like Jay or Hemi Fever, Alex Pites. Again, those guys can get you squared away. But yeah, they're good. They've gotten so much better too, guys. Believe me. Matt saying the 6.1 was so much more nasty than I ever thought. A buddy had a tuned SRT8 Jeep that blew me away. Fun car. I think Marco's asking about Hemi Fever to do the tune. He can get you taken care of. But Alex can also do that as well. Mark is saying, Hemi Fever, there he is. Ardell saying the Mustang will go on. The Challenger, Charger, Camaro are not. Again, Ford Mustang will be alone. V8 will be in the Mustang in 2024. Yep. And that's the thing. You got to remember, guys, and let's not forget, credit where it's due. There was a Ford Mustang when there wasn't a Challenger or a Camaro. Had a V8, by the way. More to that point, there was a GT500 when there wasn't a Hellcat, when there wasn't anything from GM at that point. Nothing, not even a Camaro. There was a GT500 when the Challenger was released. There was a GT500 all the way up until the very first Hellcat year, which was 2015. In other words, Ford was making really cool muscle cars in that GT500, manual transmission, 500 horsepower, 500 pound-feet of torque, and just went up from there. They were making those cars when they didn't have any competition to have to step into, that were going to step up against them. Ford, and really, I should say, Ford is owed a great debt of gratitude for what they did for the muscle car enthusiasts during the early and mid 2000s. Matt saying, I'll go to church and light a candle, hoping Ford uses the new pushrod motors in the Mustangs. I don't know if they're going to do that. Oh, it's saying, thanks, Professor V. Donnie's saying, ZH Tunes also did my 5.7. He does remote, but you need to use HPT. That is correct. Highly recommended. Yep. Hilton Mode's asking, is Dr. Div still tuning? I don't think so. I don't think so. Not sure. Oh, Riff's saying that Z tuned all three of his Challengers and did a great job. Very good. Z's a good guy. But yeah, so hopefully everything's working with this live feed tonight, though. This has been kind of weird. Oh, Donnie's saying he got his 5.7 with stock stall and big cam driving like stock. Very good. Yeah, he does a really good job. This kid's saying we should be thanking Ford and Mr. Iacocca. I tell you what, when the GT500 came out, what was it, 2007? When the GT500 came out, it was really cool. Like, it was a really cool car. In fact, the early GT500s are still some of my favorite. And it's just so weird that I never owned one. Marco's saying the SVT Cobra was the Hellcat in the mid-2000s. They were so nice. Yeah, I mean, like I said, well, the GT500, I mean, that's like the template for the Hellcat was the early GT500s. You know, the ZL1 wasn't even in the mix. I mean, hell, ZL1, I don't know. I almost bought a ZL1 at one point. Anyway, but it always blew my mind that I never did buy a GT500. Ribs is saying I'm going broke getting the new 3.0 Whipple for my cat, but I truly believe it's one of the best designed superchargers so far, and it is. In fact, at the same boost, I haven't seen anybody run one at, say, 11 pounds of boost, but I can only imagine it's going to be worth at least 50 or 60 horsepower just there because of inertial and temperatures. Inertial losses not being so high and temperatures not being so high. Skid's saying he had a chance to buy a Termi in 2016, dirt cheap, and he still regrets it. Yeah. Termis go for crazy money. Coming from Matt. Yeah, no doubt they do. Oh, Hemi's saying he watched the exhaust video on the new truck. She sounds good, brother. Thank you very much. Hemi Dad saying like, subscribe, and share. Like, subscribe, and share. Yes, definitely, guys. All the likes and shares and the subscriptions really do help you. They help a lot more now than what they used to. It's real important, guys. If y'all are watching this, you like it, don't mind the fact it looks like I'm in a bunker for the live show tonight. Hit the subscribe. Consider doing it. It does definitely help. As kids are saying, yeah, thanks a lot. The exhaust bit has me second guessing my choice of engines. I tell you what, like I say, and yes, that startup, I had not started the truck at all. That was me going, is it going to be loud? What's it going to sound like? I was going, God, I hope this thing sounds as good as I had hoped that it would. And it did. I mean, it just sounds so good. I just absolutely love that exhaust. Yeah, it's pricey. Yeah, it's the most expensive one I think that's out there, but it's made with the best material. And I mean, if you can find a better sounding exhaust, I would be shocked. So, sorry, still here watching. Yeah, it's such a great sounding exhaust. Well worth it. And I got to tell you guys, like I say, it's what that truck is. I never thought I was going to like it. And what's funny too, is that guys are saying, well, it's not as fast as a Ram. And I'm going, wait a minute. I mean, it's not as fast as an F-150. I'm going, well, the Ram felt stronger than the Ford unless you were in the throttle trying to like run the thing to red line, and then the Ford just felt like it kept pulling on the big end where the Ram would shift. And I think I had mentioned something like that in prior video. Like, why'd you go with the Ford? Well, I didn't go with a Ford because, number one, Ford didn't want to work with me, and number two, the truck rode bad, like really just didn't ride very good. There was an STX that I really liked. And by the way, it's a 4-wheel drive truck. And I maybe would have made an offer on that truck, but I really wanted a 2-wheel drive. And I mean, you couldn't, it started turning into a mess. And anyway, I never felt driving the Dodge that it was slow by comparison to the Ford. It's just that the Ford would seem to rev more, and the Ford only used like 2 gears. It was crazy how far that thing could stretch a gear out. So just based on, starting hit in mile an hour. Let's see. Ardell saying he's got a split. We're saying, how bad will it smell in my Hellcat if I take the cats off? That's the only thing stopping me. You won't really, I don't know that you'll notice a huge smell difference. I mean, you'll, depending on how the wind's blowing, if you're in the garage, you'll definitely smell it. But here's the thing. I mean, we're running cars, let me think, 970s with stock catalytic converters. So, I mean, at one point we had, on lower boost cars, we had pulled the catalytic converters off. The cars actually got slower. It's kind of crazy to think, but they did. Marco's saying, going to be crazy loud. It will be a little bit loud. Bruce saying they are high flow, but I'd still rather not have them. Yeah, it's depending on, like, if you're making big power, you definitely would want to take them off, or at least run 200 cell cats, the metal substrate. Just make sure you've got your temps under control, though. Marco's saying the 10-speed sucks. You know what's funny? Marco brings up a good point when that Ford. So the weird thing about it is that the trucks that I drove, the downshift protocol was not very aggressive, and it would land the truck in like some fun, like it would drop the RPM down, or it would raise, I should say, to like 4,000 RPM. Well, the 5.0 at 4,000 RPM is not really even awake yet. Where the Ram, you tip into the throttle and it would just kind of get moving. It's just weird that the Ram felt so much better under partial throttle, and I couldn't tell the difference, being perfectly honest. I couldn't tell the difference between a 321 truck and a 5.0 on the highway. Now, I could tell the difference between a 392 and the 5.0 on the highway. 392 just lays over on the highway, just doesn't have the gear to carry, mile an hours. The way that the 321 does. It just rips on the highway. So that's why I bought it. I specifically drove the 21 and the 92 back to back, and it was like, man, partial throttle just buzzing around here or there. The 392 is nice, but 321 is really good too, you know. So with the new revised gear ratios, the 321 is spunkier, and the 392 is it wants to rip. Don't get me wrong, but the 21 on the highway, that's its calling card, the 321 gear. And you would think that the 5.0 with the 331 would be just as good or, you know, better, right? Well, it never really felt like it was a lot faster. And again, we're talking 5.0 here. And I couldn't find one with a 373 to drive. I'm sure the 373 gear would be the one to get. But again, I couldn't find one, and Ford dealership did not want to work with me. So, Skids is talking about Huffines up in Plano. Yeah, I mean, listen, as long as they're not marking up, that's a good thing. We didn't have any dealer markups on Dodge down here, which was real good. Skids saying they had 2 Charlie Scats on the showroom floor on sale at MSRP. Nice. Oh, Ripped is saying he's about $9 bills on E. That's why he's worried about him. The good thing is that you're on ethanol. You've got a high fuel load hitting those cats. Basically, it's a really rich mixture, and it's going to keep the cats cooler. But yeah, I would probably say go ahead and pull the cats at this point. And if you're on corn, it's already smelly anyway. What's the difference? I mean, really, I wouldn't have at that power level on corn. I wouldn't have cats. Sovereign saying, hit that like button for sure. Riff saying, hey, Sovereign. But yeah, loving the truck. I can't say enough good things about that truck right now. Oh, Marco's saying, I like 90 Chevy trucks, Ford 2015 maybe, Dodge 2009 now is best truck for me in the 1500 class, for sure. I'm a big fan of the older truck. I'm a huge truck guy too. I just love the older trucks. So is my wife. In fact, we were talking about, what would I do if I did get, I get the question asked a lot. What would I get if I got rid of the Hellcat? Would I get something older, something I could just cruise around or whatever? And, I don't know. An older truck. I mean, I've got Sierra, so there's that. I don't know, man. I'm just such a sucker for Mark III Lincolns. It'd probably end up being one of those. But love the older trucks too. And yeah, Sovereign, get to feeling well, buddy. Get well soon. Get rid of that COVID crap. Chicken soup, orange juice. Sovereign saying, thanks, guys, for sure, man. Yeah, keep us posted, bro. That can end up being spooky. Y'all know my sister's a nurse that works with COVID patients, but by the time they get to her, those are the folks that didn't adjust well to it. So, or didn't respond well, I should say, to it. Sovereign's got his Plex loaded up. Good. Yeah, take your meds when you're supposed to. Again, plenty of fluids, that whole bit. Oh, Marco's saying he had an 81 C10 with a 350. That'd be a fun truck to have. Like I say, I love the fact it's coming up on the first of the month. I gotta make the rounds with the cars here pretty soon. Get them run. But guys, we are coming up on an hour and a half. I am going to have to wrap it up because I too have to get up early. I'm going to be working on my lawnmower. I had a weird thing happened with my brand new Honda lawnmower where the petcock quit working for, I don't know how petcock breaks, but anyway, it looks like it wrecked the float and the main jet needle. Anyway, it's leaking fuel, so I got to fix that. How do you figure? Anyway, so you might see some update videos on that Honda lawnmower. But at any rate, it's the kind of stuff, man. Okay, so this lawnmower, it's such a badass, but I've had nothing but little minor problems with it ever since I bought it. And this latest problem is the biggest problem because I can't have the thing leaking fuel all over the place, right? Obviously. So anyway, I'm having to drain the tank every time I use it. And then when I do use it, fill it up, put the cap on, immediately fire it up, and then hopefully it doesn't puke gasoline. Anyway, it's just a complete disaster. It's like, what? How does that even work? And then, it's a carburetor, right? So everything's all like fidgety and like little, it's just linkage is like this long and it's itty bitty. Anyway, that's what I'll be working on tomorrow, maybe. Or I may just mow the yard and drain the gas and put it right back. It's just my life with this lawnmower plus problems. I don't know. But listen, Gary, Heavy Dad, appreciate it, guys. Really do. I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up. With that, hey, Sovereign, get you feeling better, buddy. Remember, get out there and do something cool for somebody. Chances are they need it. Worst thing you know, if you're going to sit into a minute, keep your side up. Ray, miss, and love you. And with that, guys, love each and every one of you guys. I mean it very much. Would not do this without you. Y'all have a great beginning of your week. Stay safe, and we will see you on the next one. That's a wrap. Adios.